and that he's smiling. And then I remembered Thich Nhat Hanh and half smile. And, you know, you all know Thich Nhat Hanh amazingly came out of the Vietnam War here to help us. And I don't think he came up with the half smile because it was a good idea. I think he came up, I mean, who knows, but I think he came up with the half smile because he knew, experienced hell realms. I mean, real hell realms of war and people that he loved and cared for on both sides being hurt, beyond hurt. And his teachings, the ground of his teachings and the ground of the Buddhist teachings. The ground of the Dharma is, how do we live in this crazy, beautiful, samsaric world? Sometimes it's easy and we like it. Sometimes it's not. So I'm going to confess to the people on screen, well, to all of you, that I printed out my talk for today, but then I left it in the printer. I'm not distracted. I'm fine. But I have it in my computer, so I'm going to call it up, but it means I'm not going to be able to see you guys on screen while I'm doing it. But I want you to know that you're there, and hopefully I'll be able to come in and out, and hopefully you will know that I'm talking to you. So here goes. With a little luck, I can find it here. Oh, there it is. Sandokai talk number 9. So, announcements. Sunday is Sangha meeting at my house, 10 to 1. Please come in person if you can. Please let Marilyn registrar know if you're coming, so we just know how many people are going to be there. And please arrive if you can at 9:45 if you're coming, so we can all be settled in and have plenty of time to do all the things that, mostly it's an opportunity to just be together, to find refuge together, to share Sangha news. It's so funny, I can't see you all on screen. Hi over there. No, I can see you on the big screen. Okay. So I think I want to begin, we're going to chant the Sandokai, but I want to begin where we began in Zazen. The little bit that I said at the beginning of Zazen. Nobody knows what to do. I mean, we never knew. Now we just really want to know what to do. And it was occurring to me that some of us, and maybe at different moments, some of us are like, it's too much. Just tone it down. Some of us are, it's not enough. Say something, do something. Some of us maybe are who voted for Trump are feeling happy that things are being done, and then also experiencing or beginning to experience that, say, for instance, if you're a federal employee, that there's suffering here. So nobody's, quote, getting out of this alive. And we're all in this together. And how do we be strong? And how do we be tender? And how do we, I feel so fortunate for Bodhisattva vow. I feel so fortunate that we have practice. I feel so fortunate that we have Sangha and good spiritual friends. That makes me cry. Because while I don't know what to do, I also completely know the ground. The groundless ground we're standing on, together with all beings. So that's why when I said at the beginning that Zazen is a prayer and a vow, it's an embodiment. Zazen body is how do we live it and be it moment after moment. Getting thrown off balance completely, because the minute you think you found something, then we conceptualize it, and then and that's the Sandokai. The Sandokai is this deep, beautiful teaching about living by vow, about living prayer. I mean, I like it. I don't know what it brings up for everybody else, or the word vow, but those words, you can find your own word. Intention, love, deepest love, kindness, deepest kindness, without some idea of what kindness is. Sandokai is a living finger pointing at the moon. And I thought that I would, again, just because it's so beautiful, Katagiri Roshi's Peaceful Life, as a really simple embodiment of just living this living, not knowing, upright and clear. Being told that it is impossible, one believes in despair. Is that so? Being told it's possible, one believes in excitement. That's right, we can do this. But whichever is chosen, it does not fit one's heart neatly. Being asked what is unfitting, I don't know what it is. I don't know the appropriate response in this moment and how to do this and not cause harm and to respond appropriately. But my heart does know somehow. That's the heart of vow. That's the heart of deepest human values all the way through. And I feel an irresistible desire to know and to be this. What a mystery a human is. As to this mystery, clarifying, knowing how to live, knowing how to walk with people, demonstrating and teaching through our being, through our body and our speech and our mind, this is the Buddha. From my human eyes, I feel it's really impossible to become the Buddha that I already am. Are you kidding? I'm just completely deluded. I'm getting pushed all over the place. You're a Buddha. Buddha said you're a Buddha, waking up to be a Buddha. What is that? I vow regarding what the Buddha does and says and has told us, not just the Buddha, but all wise beings. I vow to practice. I vow to aspire, to be resolute, and to tell myself, yes, I will. Just moment after moment. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Just practice right here and now and achieve continuity endlessly, forever. Endlessly and forever. There's no end game here, folks. This is just what we do. Sometimes you think we win, sometimes you think we lose, sometimes you think we have it, sometimes you think the other side is winning. I mean, whatever you think is going on, take a breath and take the next step. Just achieve continuity. This is continuous practice, endlessly, forever. This is living in vow. Herein is one's peaceful life found. Now, let me say, it doesn't mean you're going to feel peaceful all the time. I mean, maybe Katagiri did, but I kind of doubt it. It's just that there's some deep, peaceful place right in the center of it. And there's all kinds of storms and this and that, but there is some place that goes all the way through that we keep coming back to, and we help each other come back to. So having said that, let's chant the Sandokai, which is saying essentially the exact same thing. So again, when we chant the harmony of difference in quality, chant it with your whole body and with your heart, with the don't know. because words may come out, phrases, you may be finding phrases in this that touch you. But it's like a song, it's like the song of Zazen, it's like the song of vow and prayer. So let's sing it, chant it together. Harmony of difference and equality. The mind of the great sage of India is intimately transmitted from west to east. While human faculties are sharp or dull, the way has no northern or southern ancestors. The spiritual source shines clear in the light, the branching streams flow on in the dark. Grasping at things is surely delusion, according with sameness is still not enlightenment. All the objects of the senses interact and yet do not. Interacting brings involvement, otherwise each keeps its place. Sights vary in quality and form, sounds differ as pleasing or harsh. Refined and common speech come together in the dark. Clear and murky phrases are distinguished in the light. The four elements return to their natures, just as a child turns to its mother. Fire heats, wind moves, water wets, earth is solid, eye and sizes, ear and sounds, nose and smells, tongue and taste. Thus with each and everything, depending on these roots, the leaves spread forth. Trunk and branches share the essence, revered in common, each has its speech. In the light there is darkness, but do not take it as darkness. In the dark there is light, but do not see it as light. Light and dark oppose one another like the front and back foot in walking. Each of the myriad things has its merit expressed according to function and place. Phenomena exist, box and lid fit, principle responds, arrow points meet, hearing the words, understand the meaning, do not set up standards on your own. If you do not understand the way right before you, how will you know the path as you walk? Progress is not a matter of far or near, but if you are confused, mountains and rivers block your way. I respectfully urge you who study the mystery, do not pass your days and nights in anything. Talk 9. We're on the phrases in the light there. Well, that's talk 8. We did talk 8 on Tuesday. Now we're on talk 9, but I'm going to bridge them a little bit. I love the language of this. In the light, there's darkness, but don't take it as darkness. In the dark, there is light, but don't see it as light. Don't get caught in oppositional concepts, which we do all the time. Where do you think light ends and darkness begins, or whatever? I mean, look around your rooms. Look at your body. Where's the light and where's the dark? It's like, where does one begin and the other end? We so much want to make this, and that. That's just what we do. Suzuki Roshi then assures us, reminds us, as the Sandokai does, in chapter 9, light and dark oppose one another like the front and back foot in walking. I love that. It's like, where does the front foot begin and end, and where in it's like front foot. Well, it's already in motion to become the back foot, and the back foot is already and it's subtitled, this talk, "The willow tree cannot be broken by the snow," because the willow tree knows how to be. The willow tree is rooted, strong, flexible. It understands, as we are learning to understand. I think maybe there's some feeling is, this is too intense what's happening in the world right now. How can we sustain this? We're just tasting on the spectrum of the dynamicness of alive. Find the ground. Keep coming back. Maybe I'm sort of going through my talk upside down, but here's a Shitao who wrote the Sandokai. Turn around the light to shine within, and then just return. Whatever you're shining out there, whatever you think, darkness, darkness, light, light, just keep coming back and shine it within and let go of hundreds of years and relax completely. Open your hands and walk innocent. Now, little reality check. I'm kind of not so able right now to relax completely because there's always something new coming. But we do know about opening our hands and opening our hands of thought and walking innocent. Front foot, back foot, just turn around and come back. Simply to return to the world and to our original nature, to Buddha nature, to just this. Letting go of ideas, conditioning, it's here we're able to act effectively. Child's mind. Suzuki Roshi keeps saying in his commentary, is this practice as you return to the mind and heart of a child. It's like, what is it? What is it? Sense of wonder, curiosity, and presence. So just awake, aware, responsive presence. And then I thought I would, this is just a pep talk. It's really what I'm doing. And of course I'm doing it, hopefully it's helping you, but it's also helping me because that's why I do this is the fundamental bodhisattva vow is to do no harm. And we know we're going to do harm. I mean, every time you put your foot on the ground, the ancient Xians, which were pre-Buddhist and then parallel to early Buddhism, is that they wore masks. I think maybe they still do. They still do. They wore masks and things on their feet, and because when they walked, they didn't want to breathe in insects or step on them. So the awakening of bodhicitta, of the impulse of living with and for all beings, is really a tender and deep part of sadness. It's like, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want anybody to be hurt. And I'm a human being and I'm going to do dumb things. And then I'm going to take the next step and come back and take the next step. And together, in the fundamental belief that is also the Sandokai, that each action of body, speech, and mind ripples across time and space and touches everything, that we are creating the past and the present in the 10 directions and the 3 times in this moment, and nothing is fixed or solid. And that's actually a very strong and tender place to be. So I thought, I thought I'd read you from. They're still there. I know they're here. I can see them on I can see them on the screen, sort of behind my little. I'm going to read this. I'm on page 123. Dependency and independency, because you can't really be independent. So he calls it independency. It's a verb. And dependency, which is interdependent, or as Thich Nhat Hanh would say, interbe, are actually 2 sides of one coin. Suzuki Roshi was Japanese. He, one of our wars was with the Japanese, and it was not pretty. And both sides and the Japanese did, again, it's amazing to me that out of the Vietnam War, we got Thich Nhat Hanh. Out of World War II, we got Suzuki Roshi and a whole lot of other teachers who came, who just saw it and just said, we got to, I mean, they must have said, we got to do something. So, here's his little commentary. People may say the Japanese are very tough, but that is just one side of the Japanese personality. The other side is softness. Because of their Buddhist background, they have trained that way for a long time. The Japanese people are very kind. We'll all remember that Japanese people were demonized and that we locked them up in detention camps. So then is now, and now is then. No, it's just we're humans. He says we have a child song that describes a hero called Momotaro, the Peach Boy. There was an old couple who lived near the riverside. One day, the old woman picked up a peach from the stream and came back to her home. And from the peach, out came Momotaro. The Japanese children sing a song about him. Do you know that there are children everywhere, in every culture? Republicans, Democrats, over there, that the USAIDs have been, the institute, I mean, it's just like children. And we're being encouraged to practice with the innocence of a child. The Japanese children sing a song about him. He was very strong, but very kind and gentle. He is the ideal Japanese character. What do you call it? You must have some expression for it. The student there says a folk hero, something like that. I don't know if that's right, but Suzuki Roshi says, yes, a folk hero. Without a soft mind, you cannot be really strong. Without a soft mind, you cannot be really strong. If Momotaro did not have this side of his character, if he was not very sympathetic, he could not be really strong. I think there's so much part of what's happening in our culture is we're trying to figure out what strong is. And how do you be strong when it seems like there's this other coming at us, and we're reverting to old stereotypes of strong. I think Zazen is such a beautiful, strong position because it's completely wide open and grounded and connected to everything. A person who is strong just for himself is not so strong, but a strong person who is very kind will support people and can really be a folk hero or an archetype or a bodhisattva. When we have both a soft side and a strong side, we can be strong in a real way. It may be easier to fight and win than to endure without crying when you are defeated. It may be easier to fight and win than to endure without crying when you are defeated. You should be able to allow your foe to beat you. Okay? This is very difficult. Study the self deeply. That's what happens when you get scared. When we get scared, is we go into a more primal nervous system, which is fight and flight. Really important to study this. That's what's beautiful about this practice is you align the spine, you align fight and flight. It's here, absolutely, but there's a deeper ground. Unless you can endure the bitterness of defeat, you cannot be really strong. Readiness to be weak can be a sign of strength. We say the willow tree cannot be broken by the snow. The weight of the snow may break a strong tree's branches, but with a willow, though the snow may bend or twist the branches, even as heavy snow like the one we had last year at Tassajara down there, I guess, cannot break them. Bamboo also bends easily. It looks quite weak, but no snow can break it. What is the strength of a bamboo? Like front and back foot in walking, darkness and brightness, absolute and relative, are a pair of opposites, like front and back feet when we walk. This is a very good way of explaining oneness, or the actual function of a pair of opposites. It expresses how we apply pairs of opposites like delusion and enlightenment, reality and idea, good and bad, weak and strong, in our everyday practice. We are doing it all the time. Study it. Study it for yourself. Study it for all beings. People who feel they are strong may find it difficult to be weak, or receptive, or flexible, or curious, or responsive. People who feel they are weak may never try to be strong. It's too much. I can't do it. I'm going to go into the covers and I'm never going to come back out again. And maybe it'll be all over someday and I'll come back out again. I'm saying this, we all have, I think we all have all of these parts in us. That is quite usual, but sometimes we should be strong and sometimes we should be weak, or I would say tender, or soft. If you remain weak always, or if you always want to be strong, then you cannot be strong in the true sense. There is no fixed moral standard. That's the beautiful thing about the Bodhisattva precepts, is we kind of set them up the way maybe we were trained, or we took them in our Judeo-Christian. I'm not saying it's the truth of it, but that we set up good against bad. The Bodhisattva precepts say it's practice enlightenment. The precepts are only known moment after moment. The moral code, the ethical code, by being in the present moment and finding what's the appropriate response. Otherwise, we're just fighting fake dragons or whatever our idea of it is. I just made that up, but maybe that works. Rather, you find your moral code when you try to teach others. So you find it in communities. Before Japan was defeated in the war and surrendered unconditionally, they found out what it was to lose. The Japanese people thought they had a moral teaching that was absolutely right. That's why they went to war. And I would say, just conjecturing, that whatever side of the political spectrum you're on these days, we've kind of split the moral code and we each think we're right. We're kind of fighting over lots of things, but we're human beings trying to figure out how to be here together and how to take care of each other. They believed, the Japanese, if they observed that code, that they would not make any mistakes. That's why you join one side, because then everybody starts to agree with you. Yeah, we're right. And then all the cracks that start coming up, then you don't know what to do with the cracks anymore. So then you just keep reinforcing each other. But then little by little, it's like, there's cracks here. But that moral code, unfortunately, was set up at the beginning of the Meiji period, 1868 through 1912. And after losing the war, they lost confidence in their morality and didn't know what kind of morals they should observe. They didn't know what to do. But actually, it shouldn't be so difficult to find one's moral code. I said to people at that time, you have children. When you raise them, you will naturally know the moral code for yourself. When you think the moral code is just for yourself, that is a one-sided understanding. A moral code is rather to help others. What is a moral code that's receptive and wanting to teach others, our children, our people around us, just how to be a good person? The moral code you find when you want to help and be kind to others will naturally be good for you as well. Let's see what I haven't said here. We honor our own experience, our own conditioning, our own uniqueness. We study it. And always with breath and ground, we come back. It's a warm, warm tenderheartedness right here. That actually is remarkably clear. It's just moving. Its front and back foot is just moving. You can't make it stand still. But there is something that goes all the way through. The main point is to let go of all grasping at truth. Don't hold on to anything. The real teaching is life, life as it really is, not how we imagine it or want it to be, but right where we are. The whole world right now, I think, is asking all of us to find another paradigm because it's so clearly not working. Bodhisattvas, imagination, creativity, don't know, just this. Suzuki wrote that Sandokai says, if you do not understand the way right before you, how will you know the path as you walk? The path we walk is underneath each one of us, and at the same time, it's an ancient path of the ancestors. It also says, and we're coming up, this is one of my favorite ones in the Sandokai, is don't set up standards on your own. It's actually kind of funny. It's like I am setting up standards all the time for myself, for my husband, for the way that I was at somebody's house yesterday. We had this wonderful lunch and we were putting the dishes over there. And I said, can we help with the dishes? And she said, oh no, my husband has standards for doing the dishes. He wants anybody else to do them. Well, as the standards go, that's not a bad one. I mean, he was going to do the dishes for all of us, but it's like it's conscious. It's like be aware of what you're setting yourself up against. Suzuki Roshi says, if you practice hard, you will be like a child, very strong, but very kind and gentle. Now, I will point out that that's not just for everybody out there. It's in here because clearly we're all meeting ourselves and our conditioning. It's a great place to study anger. It's a great place to study despair. It's a great place to study righteousness. It's a great place to feel grief. It's a great place to feel just the joy and happiness of being alive, that there are a lot of people suffering out there, and fundamentally, most of us think are okay. You know, it's like it's all here. So strength, uprightness, kindness, gentleness to ourselves over and over and over. Maybe I'll end with, because I can't stop myself. Thank you for putting up with me. Dogen Zenji says in the Genjo Koan, to carry yourself forward and to illuminate the myriad things is delusion. Like, here I am. I know this part of me. Do you know this part of you? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do something. I'm going to help. I'm going to get out of here, whatever this self is doing. To let the myriad things come forward and illuminate and enlighten you, that is awakening. To be here, to be present. And then he kindly says, and reminds us that Buddhas are just people who know they're deluded. That's all. You're not going to get out of this. You're just going to be awake in it. And then we'll get kinder and stronger and more present. And okay, I'm going to stop now. You can talk about any of this, but here's be very strong, but very kind and gentle. what in the world is that? Or anything else that you would like to talk about in this time. And now I'm taking my talk off so I can see all of you. It's really sweet to see you. I'm gonna put us, put yourselves in groups of 3 people you don't usually get to talk to. I'm gonna put you guys in groups of 3 and